Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to talk about, drumroll, the best all-around biz dev strategy you can do for your recruitment agency right now. But before we get started, a couple things about me in case you're brand new. Welcome. I basically started my career in 2014 at an award-winning US recruitment agency in New York City. Quickly became one of the top producers in a year. Out of 300 nationwide, was able to do $500,000 on my own desk, was able to surpass $100,000 per month in my first year. And then basically a year later, I started my own career and I did minimum $100,000 on my own desk the first year and minimum every single year to present day, excluding now what our agency is doing. And over time, grateful to say that we've done multiple seven figures worth of placements, and we now help some of the best brands and companies in the US to grow. But let's get into it. So in terms of the best biz dev strategy, number one, you want to master multiple channels. While you can succeed with just one, using multiple channels can really help you remain top of mind, relevant, and be an additional creative resource for you to use. I think for some industries, cold calling or cold emailing, that's all you need. For others, you gotta be a little bit more creative, right? It also depends on how competitive it is, how not competitive it is. But when I think about it, when you are starting to kind of embark on working for yourself, we are recruiters, but we're also business owners. And as business owners, you have to be comfortable and willing to do whatever it takes to get your business off the ground. And that goes into client acquisition. You have to basically learn every single method out there and be comfortable in every single one. You can, of course, get a lot of clients without cold emailing or even cold calling, but do they still remain an effective way to convert, especially cold calling? Absolutely. So if you're going to get into business, you got to get over it. You got to get past your comfort zone and embrace all of these channels to really be able to yield the best ROI and best results from your market. You also have to kind of constantly find out what converts best and test it. So what works well in market number one might not work well in market number two. What works great in market number three might not work well in market number four. So that's why there's really no point in listening to what other people are doing. You got to decide what works best in your market and test it over and over and over again. The reason why it also could be helpful to master multiple channels is you can use it to follow up creatively as part of your campaign. So what do I mean by that? So maybe your first touch can be email. Maybe you can follow up with a call. Maybe you can follow up with a LinkedIn messaging. Or maybe you can first touch would be a phone call. Then you can follow up with the video messaging, etc. Right? So by allowing you to have...
Are you struggling with getting responses from clients? Are you an established recruiter who is struggling to break six figures and beyond? Are you looking to start recruiting part-time and you don't know how? Do you feel burned out and stuck spending hours and hours each day in manual tasks like sourcing and outreaching and feeling like you have no time to actually run and grow your business? I am absolutely happy to announce that we have launched our own recruitment, educational, and coaching program to help you on your journey. We made sure that everything I've learned in the past 10 years, the tips, the strategies that really helped me build multiple seven figures of placements on my own desk with some of the best companies in the world will be included in there. We'll also be including things like how you can build an acquisition system that brings in clients every month to your agency hands-free, how you can maximize the probability of a positive close during negotiations, how you can automate and outsource your day-to-day operations so that you don't have to spend hours per day researching or sourcing, how you can figure out the new and modern way to scale your agency that minimizes risk and maximize your upside potential. And we've also included much, much more. The best thing about this is not only will you be getting amazing content, but we will also handhold you and be with you every step of the way to make sure that you are held accountable and you crush your goals. We'll also share with you our own tech stack, tools, and plugins we actually use, plus everything else we know about automation and AI to help you save time, work smarter, and not be a slave to your business. The exciting news is that we've actually rolled this out to a select few people earlier this year, and I'm excited to see them well on the way to multiple six figures, with some breaking $30,000 to $50,000 per month already. So if you're interested to be a successful recruiter that can dominate in any market conditions, make sure you click on the link below to chat with another member of our team, and we're happy to chat with you to see if we can help you out. Make sure you jump on this really quickly. See you on the other side.
Or by email and then messaging again, etc. Right? So by allowing you to have multiple tools at your disposal, you can be creative. You can stand out of the crowd, especially for those that are only doing cold calls, that are only doing cold emails. You can be relevant. You can be adaptable. adaptable. You can kind of change the times, and more importantly, stick out. And that little kind of sticking out percentage will be a fantastic edge for you to just go out there and get business that will convert. The second step that you want to think about when it comes to business development is you want to solve a deliverability issue. So when you are starting out, this shouldn't really be like an issue for you, but a deliverability issue is really relating to those who are doing cold emails at scale, or like mass cold emails. The reason why you have deliverability issues is basically you're blasting out in quantity from your primary inbox and primary domain. And what could happen is that if you don't warm up properly, or you instantly send out hundreds of emails per day from your primary domain, you could get your primary email or domain flagged or even blacklisted. And what will happen as a result is that if you start emailing candidates or your team or clients, a lot of your emails will just be channeled into spam and junk, which could be horrendous for your business, right? So for those of you who are thinking about taking up your cold emailing or cold outreach to the next level with quantity and scale, you want to be able to mitigate this deliverability issue from happening by creating multiple new mailboxes. So let's assume that your recruitment agency is top A recruiter, right? .com. Then maybe you can create another mailbox with something similar, not the same, as maybe top AA recruiter agency.com. And the third one could be go top A recruiter.com. Something similar that is not your primary, so that those are the ones that you can really blast out in scale. And if they get dinged or red flag, that's okay, because you're protecting your primary email. You only have one, so protect it. And there's not really so much you can do to fix it if something goes severely wrong. So again, if you're planning on utilizing email as one of the major outreach methods, look into opening up additional mailboxes and domains to protect your primary email address and domain from getting hurt or blacklisted. You can do it manually, but it gets very technical, or you can use something like Instantly, which we made a video on that you should go ahead and check out if you want all that to be just opening mailboxes, warming them up to be automated and fully consolidated into one platform. The next step is you really want to follow up. Everyone says in sales, follow-up is where the money is made, and that's 100% true. You can follow up manually, but you can also do automate depending on your budget. If the budget is minimal, that's fine. You just got to stay organized, track everything on a notepad or Excel, and basically categorize things by date, response, follow-up, touch point 1, follow-up, touch point 2, maybe the response, follow-up, touch point 3, etc., etc., etc. Or you can just automate it using any of the million automation softwares out there to that tracks all the data and analytics for you. The biggest thing with follow-ups is make sure that you follow up more than once. A lot of people just send out an email and never follow up. Just following once will drastically increase your response rate, but following more than once, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 times plus, would increasingly 10x the response rate that you can get. So as a best practice, I would recommend maybe 4 to 7 touch points across a couple weeks or a month or 2 could be a good best practice starting point. You want to focus on giving value, right? Focus on success stories, social proof, maybe testimonials or names of companies or brands you've worked with in the past at each follow-up. You don't just want to follow up saying, hey, it's Preston, I'm following up. Hey, it's Preston, following up. Like, you want to be able to give them value. And one thing that will help is when it comes to business development or client acquisition, you want to come from the mindset that we're helping them solve a problem that they need us, not so much like you're here to take and spam them and be aggressive, right? So by doing that, it shifts your mind to taking to giving value. So every single follow-up could be maybe focus on a pain point that the typical hiring manager is going through and how you can solve them. Or again, success stories, testimonials, big companies and brands you've worked with and why they should work with you. All of this is really important. So do follow-ups, but make your follow-ups intentional and pack it with value and information that you think would be relevant to the hiring manager at hand. Step 4, you definitely want to start thinking about content and branding, right? When it comes to outbound cold outreach, a lot of people don't really think about inbound, right? Inbound to me is just as important as outbound, because ultimately, if you do it correctly and you establish yourself as a thought leader in your space, then ideally clients will then start reaching out to you. Isn't that amazing? Instead of just reaching out to clients will actually start reaching out to you. Isn't that every agency's dream? So a couple things to help you. Number 1, be crystal clear in your target audience and their needs. What if it's founders or decision makers or hiring managers or head of HR or TA? Some of the topics that you can think about when it comes to content is demonstrate your knowledge and insights in the market, like what's happening, what's not happening, what do you see happen, and provide a really insightful post about that, filled with data and all that good stuff. Share stories or success stories of candidates and clients you have helped. What were they struggling with before? What happened after you engaged with them? Share personal stories of yourself and background and how it can tie into being a recruiter or entrepreneur, how it can give value to your target audience. People want to know at the end of the day, you want to build a personal brand. Recruiters are a dime a dozen, or like sales carmen, they're a dime a dozen, but people would only want to work with people that they like or stays relevant or noisy or top of mind. That's what you want to be. Out of all the recruiters and recruitment owners in your space, you want to stand out, right? So by doing that is sharing personal stories, giving people glimpses of who you are as a person outside of your profession can help people just get in sync with you, vibe with you, connect with you on a more personal basis. And you want to be able to really mix these up so that you give a good variety of content out there. Now, the biggest thing is be consistent. Treat content like a job, right? You want to stay with the schedule that you can stick with. I would rather you post 1 time a week, every week consistently, than doing 3 or 4 and just not being able to be consistent. That's how algorithms end up loving you. That's how you end up getting consistent eyeballs, ultimately engagements, and ultimately potential leads. When it comes to step number 5, you got to think about quality and quantity. So the first step is nailing down the quality, which is where a lot of people struggle with your messaging, subject, outreach, and research. Once that's like good and dialed in, you want to then focus on increasing the output. Reaching out to clients is essentially a numbers game. So while you can technically still get leads and business from reaching out to 1 or 10 messages per day, ideally, the more that you do, the higher the chance you'll get a response, the higher chance it'll be a positive response, and the higher chance it will be a lead or a client that's coming in, right? So the number of quality messages that go out is correlated with responses and leads. What I typically like to say is, hey, if you're doing a part-time, full-time, try to reach out to 20 or 30 new companies. If you can do more than that, maybe 40 to 50, 40 to 60 plus, that's ideal. If your number one objective is to get clients, 100% of your time should be focused on that, right? Don't focus on anything else. That should be your primary focus. And the more that you do, assuming everything is dialed in and correct, the better your responses and results will be. Number 6, then you want to think about hiring and outsourcing, right? There's only so much one person can do by yourself. You want to master the basics, then you want to be able to work smart. And you do that through automations, you do that through AIs, you do that through systems. And that could be a great place for most people. But if you want to really treat it like a business and you still want candidate acquisition, client acquisition to still happen automatically, whether you're, on the gas or off the gas, you can only do that from hiring and strategically outsourcing, okay? And the way that you do that is whether you can hire a salaried full desk, which is, kind of a full risk, full ROI, or even more of a business development specialist. You can still do salaried or even a contractor, domestic or international, or you can simply just have fun with it. It is really, really important that you know how to do it yourself before you hire, because if you don't, you can't adequately teach or lead others to do the same. Recruiting agency is a sales organization. If you can't produce at a high level, you cannot hope or lead others to do the same thing, right? So when it comes to hiring and outsourcing, you can go the full desk route, hire someone. It's a lot of expense, very high risk, but fantastic way to really build that culture and being able to spend time with people. Or you can kind of go more the contracting route, international route. Communication and loyalty could be a little bit constrained here, but it's super affordable and they're really great with one-off tasks. Or you can kind of have the best of both worlds and doing a bit of both, right? Which is what me and my agency do. And this is what I think is the best way to scale your agency. But there's no right or wrong answer here. Then the step number 7 is when it comes to business development and just running a business, you never want to rely on any magic pill. The second you start relying on AI or software or, buying leads or splits communities, all of these are great, but should be secondary to you learning and being able to achieve things by yourself, because we're all in this to build a business. If you're just looking to be a freelancer or a part-time freelancer, you can do splits all you want, you can do buy leads all you want, but you're giving the control to all of these sources and communities and softwares, and you're not really learning how to do things yourself fundamentally. We want to make sure that you become really strong recruiters fundamentally, so that all the technology and all the AI and all the automation goes away, you can still succeed and make money as a recruiter. And that's how I think people should approach this industry. We want you to learn how to be a doctor first, how to be an engineer first, how to be a mechanic first, how to be a healthcare therapist first, and then you can toss on the fun technology and stuff on top of that secondarily. But if you're like, hey, I'm hoping that this technology and AI will help me become a recruiter without you learning fundamentally how to do it yourself, you're just kind of relying on a branch. If that snaps, you're back to square one. You're starting from scratch all over again. Spend that time, invest in yourself, learn it properly, and if everything gets taken away and it goes back to the phone and sheet of papers, you can still succeed and make money as a recruiter, which I know many people are still doing in this day and age, as crazy as it is. There's no reason why a single person can't be making between $250,000 to $700,000 by themselves. Relying on other people, you give them that power, take that control, and take that control of destiny and future in your own hands. Last but not least, never stop learning. What works 5 or 2 years ago might not work now. It's completely shifting. It's becoming very, very competitive. You have to constantly level up and challenge yourself and test new resources and tools to stay in the game and ahead of the game. You can still be successful and make money doing everything manually and the old school way, but as time goes on, that gap will get larger and larger and larger, and you will get left behind and outcompeted by recruiters who are just a lot more efficient, who can move a lot faster than you. Don't let that happen. So always be a student. The moment you stop learning, the moment your business starts plateauing and stagnating. So always be a student of life and business and keep on pushing. And I'm really excited to see a lot of the other great technologies in this space in recruiting that's coming up and going to come into our our market very, very soon. So hope that this video gave you value. If you like it, want to see more, let me know. Please like, subscribe, click that bell, and we'll see you on next one.